So, well, before I start, I proudly exclaim that Indonesia Pavilion is the only pavilion that starts as early as 9 o'clock in the morning and finish the latest. Can we have a round of applause for everyone's here? Okay, so the effectiveness of controlling climate change is highly dependent on policies and their implementation at all government levels, parties and non-party sectors. And one of the initiatives that Indonesia proceed is engaging non-party stakeholders through the implementation of the Climate Village Program, or Program Kampung Iklim in Bahasa, in short is Proklim. So today we will hear sharing some lessons learned from the implementation of community-based climate actions from our partner Astra, including climate actions using nature or ecosystem. So let me present to you our keynote speaker. You won't be here if you don't know her. She's the Director General of Climate Change. Please welcome Ibu Ami Dewanti.
Thank you. I have a gift here, so I don't know. It is for me? Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. May the peace and the blessing of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala upon you. Very good evening, and because this is the very last session of this today, so I shall be brief. Because you're gonna to hear a lot more interesting speakers during the sessions. As mentioned, this session we're gonna to talk about program Kampung Iklim or Climate Village Program. Climate Village Program is basically one of the flagship program of the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, as well as the National Focal Point of UNFCCC of Indonesia. So this program has started, established back in 2012. Till now, we found that this program is very significantly to contribute to our climate agenda in Indonesia. I'm proudly to mention it that among other countries, Indonesia is one of the countries who believe that community-based climate action is indeed a very important action throughout the agenda of climate agenda. And within our nationally determined contribution, Indonesia has putting the adaptations equally important than the mitigations, unlike many other NDCs of other parties. Because we believe that while we are reducing our greenhouse gas emission, we need to enhance, we need to build, we need to strengthen our climate resiliences. We already remind by the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, that we have to put our best effort to ensure that by the end of decade, we need to make sure that the temperature risings globally, it's no more than 1.5 degrees Celsius. And the most vulnerable communities, or the most vulnerable group that will affected by this climate disaster or climate incidents is basically those who have lack access to various infrastructure, including those who are living in the villages. So that's why the program Kampung Iklim or the Climate Village Program basically to able or to support the communities at the very grassroots level to be able to strengthen their life and livelihood, to be able to address all the negative impact of the climate change. We know that the impact of climate change on human will result in increasingly limited access to sufficient energy, health problems, clean water supplies, and many other. So that's why the menu under the Climate Village Program, it's various. It really depends on the challenge of the community itself. So it's another a good or positive point of program Kampung Iklim, which is the activities may choose by the community themselves according to the challenge that they are facing day to day. They may facing the issue of clean water or waste management or waste issues and many other challenges that they may have surrounding their communities. Indonesia has committed through the NDCs to actively contribute to achieve to the global target that I mentioned. And one of the beliefs of Indonesia is by strengthening the community as part of the non-party stakeholders, we will be able to enhance and to accelerate our climate actions. Because this is a very crucial in achieving the target of Indonesia, which now we are trying to reduce 31.89% by 2030, compare or against the baseline, the business as usual as baseline. And we're gonna to increase this target by 43.2% in 2030. And I also would like, and I'm pleased to share with you that only 2 months ago, the program Kampung Iklim or Climate Village program has been reconceptualized to even more broaden and even more strategic in our climate agenda. The program Kampung Iklim or Climate Village program has been transformed into the community-based climate action. We still call it PROKLIM, Program Komunitas untuk Iklim, which is community climate action for addressing the climate challenges. So we believe that by putting the context, putting the PROKLIM into the broadened context, we will be able to engage more stakeholders. So it's not only the villagers, basically those who are living in the urban area, those who are having initiative in their own group. For example, in Indonesia, I'm taking example from Indonesia, bike to work, for example, or goes to campus, or many other initiatives that will lead us to reduce the greenhouse gas emission, or will lead us to enhance and to build the climate resilience. So we're gonna to bring everybody, every stakeholders, because we would like to leaving no one behind in this context. So this session, we're gonna to hear from various stakeholders, especially those who are doing the things in the climate program or climate village program or PROKLIM. And we're gonna to hear a lot information and lesson learned. And by having a discussions, we expect to learn more from all the audience and to bring all the recommendation, good recommendations, good suggestion and insight for us to strengthen even more the program Komunitas untuk Iklim or PROKLIM. Up till now, from 2020, we already have, I think it's believed, I think more than 5,000 villages or sites, and we would like to expect to have 20,000 sites by 2024. And it's kind of ambitious, but I know if we able to hand in hand to join our effort collaboratively, the target will be achieved or even achieve more than we are targeted now. So I think that's my keynotes. I promise to shall be brief because I know that I don't want to stand between you and the very good speakers and between you and your dinner later or supper later. Thank you very much. I should appreciate all the speakers, the moderators, and every single of us that we are here now. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you, Ibu Dirjen Ami, for the keynote as well as for the correction. So PROKLIM is no longer Program Kampung Iklim. Instead, it is Program Komunitas untuk Iklim, still being mentioned as PROKLIM. Okay. Today we have few speakers on the panel. So As Ibu Ami suggested, let's support this program, but we won't be able to support if we don't know what exactly Proclaim is and how it works. So let's get on to it by inviting our moderator. He is my senior. Please welcome, please step forward, Dr. Suryo Adiwibowo. Okay, he wants me to invite all the speakers. It's getting late, everybody's get tired, okay? Usually, he's the one who do the job, but this time, I'll take it on because he's leaving tomorrow anyway, so. Okay, being the first one, please join Pak Bowo on the stage. Do we have April? Okay, April, she's Global Youth Panel and Youth Education in Emergency Plan International, Indonesia. And we have Bondan Susilo. He's the head of Environment Department, Astra International, TBK. Thank you for your support for many, many years. And last but not least, we have Bapak Jamaluddin. Am I right? Bapak Jamaluddin. Oh, he is a local champion from what? Goa District, South Sulawesi. Okay, over to you, Pak.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good night, everybody. In fact, there is no other participant outside Indonesia. So it is, if you cannot, have difficulty to speak in English, then I will translate it. So no problem. Then we have three, I think, interesting speaker that address the initiative of the local community to combat the so-called climate change through the power of the local people. Usually we heard since days ago, the states provide example or good initiative from the local government, provincial government, from the private sector, as well as from the academician and expert. But today we heard many interesting values. How about the initiative from the young generation as well as for the local people assisted by the private company? So without further ado, I will invite, we can hear lesson learned from all the speakers here. How to create community empowerment to dealing with climate change in the local area. As mentioned by the Director General, Ibu Ami, every local community has their own risk and challenge toward climate change. So they can select the menu, to mitigate or adaptation. I said this is quite similar with, we go to the Padang restaurant. You know, all of you know Padang restaurant. There are many menu, more than 10 plate, and we select that appropriate for us according to our preference or according to our pocket. So today we will hear how the opportunity, the risks that will be tackling by the speakers. So the first I will invite, would you be being the first? Because actually there are two speakers, they are absent today, in this evening. So I will invite Miss April with her topic, the role of youth in combating climate change in Indonesia at site level. Miss April is from Plan Indonesia. Please, stage.
Well, good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you for inviting me in this really great discussion. My name is April, I'm 20-year old, and I'm here to representing Plan International Indonesia as a global youth panel. Thank you. As a global youth panel and as a youth ambassador for emergency, education in emergency. So, okay, sorry. Oh, can somebody help me? All right. So this is my short profile. Maybe you want to know more about me. I'm representing of Plan Indonesia, part of Youth for Education in Emergency, establishing a community to advocate for the rights of women and children and join research about youth engagement in humanitarian response. And why we youth do that in Indonesia context? So yeah, I'm here, since I'm here to representing Plan Indonesia, so here is a short description of Plan Indonesia. Plan Indonesia is a development and humanitarian organization that advances a child's right and equality for girls. So we have, for the programs, also we, we have more than 800,000 we have reached more than 800,000 directly and 13 million people indirectly, and Plan Indonesia also collaborating with more than 200 partners. So yeah. So in Indonesia overview, we all know that since 2008, there are 10 tropical and cyclone and more frequent since 2017, especially in the province of East Nusa Tenggara or NTT. So yeah, the impacts is difficulties in agricultural. Can I have the mic? Okay, I will just using the mic. So yeah, the impact is difficulties in agricultural management and environmental crisis due to the shrinking agricultural land due to land use conversion, and also food crisis and crop failure due to changing season and difficulty estimating the right planting time. The massive use of chemical pesticides by monoculture companies. This is also increased poverty in the region, which has an impact in the fulfillment of human rights, and especially for women and children. So what can we do as a youth? Since the women and children are twice as vulnerable as men during disasters, therefore emphasizing the crucial role of women is essential to ensure more representative and gender-responsive movement. So, as a youth, youth have the potential role to bring about change. They need to be engaged during disaster and policy making, decision making, and advocacy in climate change adaptation actions. So what Plan Indonesia do? We have numerous programs like that involve youth, such as Young Leader for Climate from batch 1 to batch 3, and we have Girls Leadership Program. We have Youth for Education in Emergency, which I'm take part of that, and also we have Youth Adapt. And how we do to support the youth? We have SEED grant. It started in 2021, and we have more than 100 youth received SEED grants, and the total SEED grants is about $11,000, and we have more than 300 action plan and more than 300,000 participants. So yeah, talk about youth, and as you can see that this is the successful stories of the youth that supported by Plan Indonesia. First, we have Hana. Hana is from Jepara Green Generations, or JGEG, a youth community in Jepara, a city in Indonesia. And it has been focusing on climate change education and waste management since 2018. So they have vision for Jepara to be waste-free by 2035. As a result, in Jepara, there are more 80 kilogram of compost waste produced in 3 months. And the second, we have Zulfikar from Eco Living. Zulfikar focuses on solving the food waste problem in Malang City, and through the Young Leader for Climate 2 program. Hana and Zulfikar guided mothers and youth to encourage every household to sort and process waste through composting in Malang. And yeah, here is the detail. So Hana and Zulfikar, they can produce in 4 months, reduces emission per year household, and reducing the waste can be converted into rupiah, equal with 1 kilogram of apple. So another successful story, we have Rivka and Maria. So Rivka is deaf, she's deaf, and she's from Feminist Themis, an accessible educational platform for gender and feminism, sexual and reproductive health, and the world of the deaf. Rivka has provided education related to climate change and disaster resilience to young friends with disabilities in Semarang and Yogyakarta through Deaf Disaster Resilience Program. And we have also Maria from Bajaga Bumi. The youth community has activity on the issue of waste since 2022 in Kupang and Titi. Maria has invited elementary school children in Kupang to learn about the impacts of climate change and how to adapt through the Bajaga Bumi Goes to School program. So we have also successful stories of Raja and Ardi. Raja from Wana Asri Aceh has conducted education in regarding mangroves. So I know KLHK is also have such a mangrove program, yeah, if I'm not mistaken. And we also have the mangroves program. We support the youth to to do this program. So yeah, Raja and has planted about 500 mangroves. And Ardi from Rubalang, South Sulawesi, has conducted beach cleanup and planted about more than 1,000 mangroves. And here is the picture of them. Yeah, they plant mangroves. So here is some recommendation for the Indonesian government. So first of all, we need transparency regarding climate change funding and supporting youth in climate change action regarding human resources, facilities, and material resources. We also emphasizing the crucial roles of women and youth, involving them directly in various sectors, including planning, implementation, policy making, monitoring, and incorporate women's perspective into climate change-based development for better representation. We also recommend that for creating green job opportunities for youth. Also, last but not least, providing access and opportunities for women and youth to manage natural resources, ensuring women to access to education and health, and involving them in relevant training, especially related to climate change and disasters. So yeah, we also have recommendation for global stakeholders. First, we recommend that integrating gender and youth responsive and climate change solution across Southeast Asia, including Indonesia, including girls' education, climate education, and youth leadership. And second one is developing gender responsive education sector plans prioritizing resilience, climate change, adaptation and mitigation, and sustainable development in line with SDG target 4.7. Last but not least, including transformative education in all national climate strategies, such as NDCs, NAPS, as enhancement and implementation. And for the donors, since plan is NGOs, so we have recommendations to donors and partners. First, close partnerships and relationship. We need to maintain the relationships and partnerships to be a healthy relationship between the donors or the partners with the youth or the organization that facilitating the movement for the youth. Second one is facilitating connections and mentorships, stable, secure, and creative funding, extending opportunities, not only in one programs or movement or action, but also in another opportunities. Challenging a patriarchal exclusion and break the box. So I think that's it. Thank you. I will give the floor to Pak Surya. Thank you.
Big applause to our young generations. April, I would just want to ask to you, on the last slide,
Yeah.
you mentioned recommendation to donor and partners.
Yeah.
One of them is challenging patriarchal exclusion. Would you explain it in short? Yeah?
Sure. So I have prepared the answer here in my phone. Is it okay?
The last slide, yeah.
The last slide?
Yeah, before recommendation, the last recommendation.
Well, it's
Yeah,
where is the slide?
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you can, yes.
Oh yeah.
This one.
Challenging patriarch. Okay. The safe, active participation of girls, young women, and trans youth in civil society is crucial for intersectional and activism. Donors can advance this by specifically supporting youth groups that promote gender equality, advancing policies and actions that tackle patriarchal exclusion with governments, and sharing best practice through horizontal interaction with young girls. Yeah.
So you, on the Yayasan plan, you, what you call it, provoking or challenging or didn't accept the patriarchal approach. I mean, patriarchal approach is more vertical, more male approach, yeah, not taking into account the woman. I mean,
Yeah. That's
okay. So I
what
know,
I try to say.
Yes. So a patriarchal exclusion is not mean that the man should be outside, but the character of the man, which is sometimes characterized by the patriarchal approach. Man is always
Yeah.
identified with power, with high power, and so they didn't want.
Yeah.
I think I agree with this kind of approach.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, April.
Thank you.
And I will go to the next presenters, speakers. I mean, I will let what you want to prefer because both of you are, collaborate each other. We prefer from the Astra Company Limited or from the local community. Okay, yes. So I invite Mr. Bondan to explain how the Astra private company to endorse and to strengthen the ProClim, the pro-climate community, the program of climate community in Indonesia that strengthened and endorsed by the Astra company. Please, Pak.
Oh, less than 10 minutes. Okay, thank you, Pak Bowo, for these great opportunities that coming to us. I know since the day one until now, we have like three presentation on this occasion. Astra, the number one, we have shared about our sustainability aspiration in 2030, and those also kind of the energy transition that we had in our daily operation and in portfolio. And then we also sharing also about the social forestry project that been assisted by Ministry of Environment and Forestry also. And this is the third opportunities for us to present like our approach that hand in hand with communities like you mentioned with Pak Jamal also in here. We have developed like Astra Climate Village program that I think what Bu Laksmi has been said before that Proclaim will uplift into from program Kampung Iklim into program Community Iklim. We accept those challenges, Pak. So because we have not only the kampung or the village that assisted or fostered by us, but also we have assisted by some of communities like Adiwiyata communities, and then also we have like komunitas Desa Sejahtera Astra, and also komunitas Satu Indonesia Astra. We have so many younger generation like Pak Jamal that assist their communities to do something that very meaningful to this climate change combat. And I know my distinguished guest, it's very hard to say in here. Not only I'm in side by impactful and inspiring speakers like Bu April and Pak Jamal. Not only this, but also it's evening is turned into night, I think, yeah. So I offer to you after this session, you can have to take a coffee that come in from our village foster in West Sumatra. It's located in Agam, Sumatera Barat. So I don't offer the nasi padang, Pak Bowo. I offer the coffee, so you can grab after this session in the outside area. Thank you. Thank you. I will start my presentation with the outline. Sorry. Yes. The first one I want to introduce our company. It's called Astra, and then we kickstart our journey on the climate village concept, and then we can touch upon the climate village model, and then climate village on the impact on the outcome, and then the result of this behavior changing for the communities. So this is our company. It's called Astra. Maybe from your perspective, Astra is just a company that we sell like automotive in Indonesia. But we have also seven businesses line. Beside the automotive, we have also the heavy equipment, and then the agribusiness, financial services, and then information technology, infrastructure, logistic, and property. And we have like sustainability framework from 2021 until 2030. The sustainability framework and operation is our foundation in planning and implementing sustainability initiative. One of them is the public contribution. Like if you see on the right bottom, we have 4 topics of the public contribution. There are the Astra Sehat. Astra Sehat is our program in health, public health in Indonesia. And then Astra Cerdas. Astra Cerdas is our program in this education. And then Astra Kreatif in income generating activities. And then the last one I think is Astra Hijau is in the environment. And all the 4 programs in those several area, we develop Kampung Berseri Astra. Kampung Berseri Astra is a village that have for development in health, education, income generating activities, and the environment. And one of the special topics today is in Astra Hijau. We have some specific topic in environment that assisted also with Ministry of Environment and Forestry with Bu Laksmi team is Proclim. Proclim, we start this project or program in 2014 actually, and now have covered around 116 Astra climate village. I don't want to be emphasized on this number, but I want to touch to land on in the process that we are hand in hand with our communities to develop this program and what is the outcomes. So, Kampung Proclim or Astra Climate Village area have several purposes to do in our kampung. The number one is increasing community resilience. You can see on this slide to facing the climate change and others. And then the second one, I think it is interesting because all the companies in Indonesia is now rushing for measuring the GHG emission in Indonesia. And now we have like sharing knowledge with our communities how to measure those activities turn into the GHG reduction. It is very hard because some company feel very hard also to compute their GHG emission. But with those assistance with ministry or some methodology that we have also seized in SRN, we can measure it the potential of GHG emission reduction in our activities. And then the last one, I think the most important one is to promote a low carbon awareness and a lifestyle of community. You can see in the Pak Jamaluddin case what he's done in the Goa district in South Sulawesi. They turn some activities into climate resilient activities. And those activities not only impacted into the environmental benefit, but also into the economical benefit also. So the sustainability is going to environmental, social, and also the economic. This is the kind of the activities that the community gonna do. The number one is waste management. It is, I think, mandatory in the village, climate village area. And the second one is tree planting, and then using or installing the renewable energy. And the last one is to actually water management that has been done by community is focusing in the rainwater harvesting. In this slide, I will focusing on the cycle that we develop with communities. I know this is look very simple, but I think those journey, those cycle, we formulating in year by year, because it is very hard to be facilitator, to be like kind of the synergize with the community to develop one single methodology to achieve the success. The number one and number two is actually the core of the communities. They have to build their own commitment, and then we develop the local organization or the climate champions like Pak Jamaluddin. And then after that, number three and the four, we increase the awareness of the skill, and then to monitor program implementation. And if they need some facilities to support, we support that. And then we create the ecosystem by connecting into the other communities. And we have also like a special program to them to reward and standardize what their innovation could done. So if you see the portion of Astra on this journey or this cycle is one is we have like some capabilities inside our operation. We have the competencies to manage our water management. We have the competency about this GHG reduction, about energy management, and we share to the communities how to develop their GHG emission reduction strategy. And we also share how to reduce water intensity on the energy management. So the competencies, the sharing is more important than the others one, like the facilities. The facilities is just to turn around their goals into the objective. So in this, I say once again, I will not to emphasize our number on this outcome, just because it's the strategic management approach. We have also highlighted the waste management achievement, like plastic waste reduction to 147 ton per year reduction in all the climate village area. And we also use the renewable energy in 83 solar panel in 75 villages. And the good one, we have also led in trees planting with 414,000 trees planted in all areas. So all these programs is led into the number of the ton CO2 emission reduction around the 2,786 ton CO2. I know that is not tally or not hand in hand with our company's emission reduction, but this is a good news for us, because from the community itself, they can generate an activities that contribute to this reduction. This is not only in the direct impact, but also we have also gathered the indirect impact of this climate village program. The number one is in the ecological impact. The second one, I think, is in the social cultural impact. But if you see, the ecological impact, moreover, is in the water quality, and then the air quality, and the ecosystem service that they will bring into the community. And then the social cultural, they increase the ability of the communities and the local level to adopt low carbon technology. So it was very challenging effort, because from our experience side by side with Pak Jamaldin and also others, they have the number one is, I think, in the capacity and the knowledge. We in the local champion, we have to increase this capacity. We have to increase, and also to monitor what is the progress, what is the achievement. And I know, just 2 minutes, these two slides, I think, is the pre-slide to open the Daeng Jamaldin cases with the what is the changes, not only in the outcome, but the changes, I think, the important changes in the community behavior. Like if you see the island, one of the island is in Pramuka Island in North Jakarta. So many waste thrown careless and polluting the environment. This is Bu Maharian. This is a friend also from Mr. Jamaldin. They turn the waste into the waste collection. We call it waste bank, bank sampah. And all the waste that organized by bank sampah is collected and then processed into some several items like fertilizer, inorganic, and also waste production in the plastic. So we can chop this and also export into a plastic factory. So I will, this is the other practical lesson from our communities to turn in the rainwater harvesting into some several function to like water plants and reduce water usage. And I know the time is over, but I will close my presentation with some result of this program. The community has gradually started to realize how important it's to put adaptation and mitigation plans into place in order to address climate change. So to protect the planet for coming generation, I hope that the Wheel Running project will keep expanding, increasing, and involving more community to support. Thank you, Pak Bowo. Thank you all.
Thank you, Mr. Bondan. Now our last speaker, he will speak in Bahasa and I will translate, so don't worry about that. But the presentation, the slide presentation is in English. So I think everybody can also adapt or what you call it, understand what you want to speak and address. Please, I call Mr. Jamaluddin from the Goa district of South Sumatra. Hey, sorry, Makassar, and it's going late tonight, so. Today I 3 times became moderator, so you can imagine how. Pak Jamaluddin, please, to address your speech.
Thank you very much for time to me. Pada kesempatan ini izinkan saya berbicara menggunakan bahasa Indonesia karena di mana memang kita melakukan gerakan di tingkat lokal. Jadi kita ingin memperdengarkan juga bahasa Indonesia di tingkat internasional. Ya. Pertama-tama perkenalkan nama saya Jamaluddin Abu, merupakan lokal champion dari Kampung Berseri Astra Kandrapia. Dan saya sendiri juga merupakan penerima 1 Indonesian Awards dari PT Astra Internasional.
Baik. May I introduce myself? Jamaluddin Abu. Mundur, Pak. No. Still in the first slide. Oh, yeah. I prefer, and thank you to you all. No, this first slide. Yes. So, can I call you Pak Jamal or Pak Abu?
Jamal.
Jamal. So, in short, Mr. Jamal or Pak Jamal in Indonesia. Pak Jamal is a local champion of Astra Berseri Village Climate Village program. And you can see he received the 1 Indonesia Award on 2007. Okay.
Ya. Tentu kami berasal dari desa. Desa itu adalah namanya Kandrapia. Jadi Kandrapia ini kemudian menjadi Kampung Berseri Astra di tahun 2021 dan merupakan kampung iklim di Desa Kandrapia, Kecamatan Tombolopao, Kabupaten Goa. Di desa ini kemudian memiliki potensi yang sangat luar biasa, di mana iklim kita sangat bagus, misalnya pengairan, tanah kita sangat subur, iklim kita sangat cocok untuk kemudian ditanami sayur mayur yang ada di Desa Kandrapia dan desa-desa tetangga. Dalam sehari desa ini kemudian mampu menghasilkan sayur mayur itu sekitar 20 ton per hari dari jenis sayuran yang kemudian berbeda-beda. Kemudian selanjutnya di desa ini juga kemudian menerapkan embung pertanian yang kemudian pada hari ini sudah lebih 100 embung pertanian yang ada di tingkat desa, di Desa Kandrapia yang kemudian mampu menghijaukan sayur mayur di tengah El Nino di tahun 2023 ini. Dan kami kemudian juga melakukan gerakan-gerakan literasi melalui rumah baca.
So Mr. Jamaluddin addressed his village. That's a very fertile soil and very rich with natural resources. So every day, there are about 20 tons of vegetable produced from the village. This is quite big amount of volume of horticulture product. And also supported by a surrounding by 100 reservoir. And therefore they established Nature School, all in bahasa Indonesia, sekolah alam, Nature School. Yes, please.
Ya, bagaimana kemudian gerakan-gerakan itu dilakukan melalui pola dan pelaksanaan pembinaan yang ada di tingkat pedesaan atau di tingkat tapak atau tingkat lokal. Kemudian kami mencoba mendirikan satu wadah yang kemudian korang-korang bekas itu ditempel di satu rumah baca. Korang ini pada dasarnya kan sebenarnya sudah jadi sampah dan kemudian kami mengumpulkan ditempel di dinding-dinding itu dan kemudian menjadi rumah baca untuk anak-anak petani, pemuda tani dan petani tua. Kemudian dari gerakan-gerakan itu kemudian dari rumah baca kita ada sekolah alam yang kemudian kita senantiasa bersama-sama dengan anak-anak petani, pemuda tani ke sungai, bersih-bersih sungai, baca buku di sungai dan lain sebagainya. Dan kita juga bagaimana sejak dini bagaimana mengajak anak-anak petani untuk kemudian melakukan penanaman, bersih-bersih sungai, dan tentunya adalah mencintai lingkungan sejak dini.
Okay, this is the activity that conducted by the local people, but in particular the young generation. They developed the nature school, planting trees, cleaning the river, and literacy camp. So I think it's quite interesting. But they also carry out a program that reuse, and recycle the newspaper that used as a source of information. This is the way they use the newspaper for their activity and for their I think this is a room for gathering, something like that. Ya? Tempat berkumpul.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the gathering home or gathering house for local people to meet in this place, and they use or recycle the newspaper, old newspaper that are not already or not used anymore. Yes, please, Pak.
Kemudian bagaimana dari tingkat tapak ini dari sebuah komunitas kemudian memiliki inisiatif melakukan aksi adaptasi mitigasi perubahan iklim adalah salah satunya bagaimana bagaimana kita bersama-sama dengan seluruh masyarakat untuk selalu melakukan penanaman pohon misalnya. Kemudian kita juga di desa ini memiliki budaya yang memang sejak dulu itu sudah lahir di nenek moyang kita. Nah, budaya gotong royong itu kemudian sudah lahir yang kemudian kami sebut nama Akamisi. Jadi setiap hari Kamis di tingkat lokal atau di tingkat pedesaan itu mereka berkumpul untuk kemudian melakukan kerja bakti, entah dia melakukan kegiatan misalnya perbaikan jalan, perbaikan irigasi, menjaga mata air, melakukan penghijauan dan lain sebagainya. Itulah yang kemudian dilakukan di tingkat pedesaan, bagaimana mereka bersatu untuk kemudian menjaga alamnya, dan itu sudah dilakukan dari nenek moyang kita dan dilakukan hingga hari ini. Selanjutnya inisiatif yang kami lakukan adalah melakukan pertanian organik. Bagaimana betul-betul pertanian bukan hanya hari ini saja, tapi kita juga berpikir bagaimana alam kita tetap lestari dan itu bisa berkelanjutan. Dan selanjutnya kami juga melakukan kegiatan-kegiatan yang sifatnya hemat air. Kita melakukan gerakan-gerakan yang menggunakan alat, misalnya pipanisasi yang lebih hemat air ketika melakukan penyiraman, menggunakan sprinkler ketika melakukan penyiraman. Jadi dia sudah hemat dan kita juga sudah bisa melakukan penyiraman dan mengerjakan hal-hal yang lain. Itu yang menjadi inisiatif yang kami lakukan.
This is for kind of activities in the Kandreapia Astra. The first reforestation and protecting the spring. I think this is quite interesting that the local people also protecting not only reforestation but also protecting the springs and building a reservoir. We know in Indonesia since the climate change, then reservoir became so scarce. So building a new reservoir is also a good initiative that launched by the community. Then it is through reforestation, protecting the spring, and building a small reservoir is inherited since years ago by their ancestors. And then the other two about implementing organic and integrated farming. This is, you can see this, the horticulture of their crops and the implementing efficient use of water. Yes, please.
Ya, dari kegiatan yang kami lakukan, walaupun sebenarnya di tingkat pedesaan atau di tingkat tapak itu sudah kuat untuk persatuan dan kesatuan mereka untuk melakukan kegiatan sosial dan kegiatan lingkungan, tetapi di sini tentu kita membutuhkan dukungan dari berbagai pihak. Salah satunya adalah dari PT Astra Internasional yang kemudian setiap tahun memberikan dukungan kepada kita bagaimana kegiatan-kegiatan di desa itu betul-betul bisa maksimal untuk kemudian kita lakukan. Salah satunya adalah di tengah COVID-19, Astra hadir untuk memberikan kita bantuan melalui program Semangat Saling Bantu, memberikan kita sembako di Kampung Berseri Astra Kanrapia. Bisa dilihat di slide ada satu mobil yang kemudian dikirim ke kampung kami di pegunungan dan sembako itu bisa sampai di kampung kami. Kemudian Astra kemudian memberikan kita fasilitas gapura sehingga ketika masyarakat lewat di situ, masyarakat sudah bisa mengetahui identitas desa itu bahwa ini adalah binaan daripada Kampung Berseri Astra yang dibina oleh Astra. Dan selanjutnya ada toilet yang bisa dilihat itu ada selama 5 tahun TK atau taman kanak-kanak itu sekolah taman kanak-kanak sudah berdiri dan WC-nya atau toiletnya itu belum ada. Melalui Astra kita dibangunkan toilet dan akhirnya mereka sudah bisa lebih hidup bersih dan sehat. Ketika anak-anak ingin buang air kecil, buang air besar mereka bisa di situ. Kemudian selanjutnya Astra memberikan dukungan melalui rumah baca sehingga tempat ini kemudian para masyarakat itu bisa berkumpul di situ untuk kemudian bisa bersama-sama berdiskusi dan merumuskan bagaimana alam betul-betul bisa kita jaga di lingkungan dan di tingkat pedesaan.
There are several intervention or assistance or support from the Astra company. The first about the social dimension that support the local community during the pandemic of COVID-19. And the other is about the support the infrastructure. For example, here you can see the gateway to enter the village that mention you are enter the climate action program, and then support also improve the toilets, building literacy house, and also the last, just 2022, the Kanrapia village received the Proclaim Lestari meaning sustain Proclaim program in 2022 from the Minister of the Environment and Forestry. So congratulations for them. But also we have to realize also that this kind of activity also strongly support by the Astra. Please.
Ya, jadi di sini Astra memberikan dukungan selain daripada infrastruktur yang kita bisa rasakan. Astra juga kemudian memberikan bimbingan bagaimana peningkatan kapasitas di tingkat pedesaan, sehingga di tahun 2022 kemudian kami mendapatkan penghargaan Kampung Iklim Lestari, merupakan penghargaan tertinggi di Kementerian Lingkungan Hidup yang kemudian bisa kita raih dan desa ini bisa mendapatkan predikat Kampung Iklim Lestari.
Yeah, I already translated to you about this, the last presentation. Next, please, Pak.
Ya, kemudian dari kegiatan-kegiatan itu tentu kita telah merasakan dampak dari berbagai kegiatan-kegiatan yang kita lakukan secara gotong royong dan bersama-sama dari kegiatan-kegiatan akamisit tadi yang kemudian kami sebutkan. Ternyata masyarakat terbangun pola pikir dan kesadaran bagaimana betul-betul bisa menjaga alam mereka, misalnya bagaimana hemat air, bagaimana kemudian masyarakat menggunakan sprinkler, bagaimana dia bertani organik, dan bagaimana kemudian menyiapkan lahan-lahan penghijauan yang ketika kita berbicara masa depan, maka gerakan inilah yang akan kemudian mengantarkan kita untuk ke sana.
Okay, there are 4 kind of activity that support by Astra also. I think this is interesting to develop farmer into organic farmers. This is quite difficult because the intervention for the modern fertilizer and pesticide are kind of activity that we have to change this kind of behavior from what you call it unorganic farmer to organic farmer, and therefore they can being adapt to the climate change such as drought and weather change. But this is because of the first 2, the very important of protecting the environment and mutual cooperation in building the reservoir. Yes, please.
Ya, selain itu gerakan-gerakan di pilar lingkungan tentu kita juga di Kampung Berseri Astra ada beberapa pilar yang kemudian menjadi gerakan-gerakan kita dan itu dirangkum dalam 4 pilar. pertama itu adalah pilar pendidikan, di mana gerakan literasi di tingkat pedesaan itu dilakukan, dan disinilah kita merumuskan bagaimana gerakan lingkungan dan lain sebagainya itu didiskusikan. Kemudian yang kedua adalah di pilar kesehatan, di mana memang bagaimana kita bisa hidup sehat dan bersih, itu yang kemudian kita lakukan. Kemudian di pilar lingkungan tentu itu yang kemudian kami sebutkan tadi, bagaimana kita telah mampu membangun embung pertanian sebanyak 100 lebih di tingkat desa ini, dan itu dilakukan secara gotong royong yang kemudian kami sebut sebagai gerakan Akamis di hari Kamis. Kemudian ada pilar kewirausahaan, karena kita adalah desa penghasil sayur mayur, maka tentu melalui Astra kita terus dibimbing untuk kemudian betul-betul menjadi masyarakat yang bukan hanya sekedar bisa menanam, tetapi kita juga bisa memasarkan hasil-hasil pertanian kita.
There are 4 pillars that develop the villages by the support of the Astra. So first the education, the second is about the entrepreneurship, the third environment, and health. So these 4 kind of activity that strongly support by the Astra Group.
Ya, dari seluruh rangkaian kegiatan-kegiatan yang kemudian kami sebutkan tadi, telah kami rasakan dampak yang sangat luar biasa melalui dampingan, dan kita bersyukur bisa menjadi kampung berseri Astra pada tahun 2021. Dan dari gerakan-gerakan komunitas yang kemudian kita lahirkan, Astra menemukan kita sebagai lilin bangsa yang kemudian ada di pelosok desa, ada di pegunungan, tetapi Astra yang ada di Jakarta itu mampu menemukan kita dan senantiasa melakukan pembinaan tanpa henti dan tidak bosan untuk kemudian membimbing kami, dan alhamdulillah kita sudah bisa mendapatkan berbagai apresiasi dari dampingan-dampingan Astra, dan apresiasi pertama itu berasal dari Astra, dan Astra membuka penghargaan-penghargaan yang lain untuk desa ini.
So far there are 14 awards due to the achievement of the local people. I'm not at every list of here, but the first is awards for One Indonesia. The second is about the young generation, that reputable young generation in the Goa district. And also the last 3 is about the climate program, which the Utama is the highest climate program. And the second is about the sustained climate program or PROCLIM. So they already achieved the highest ranking of the PROCLIM or program Kampung Iklim. The Lestari, the sustained level is the highest level. So I hope you guys, you can sustain also the Astra. But we can have a good discussion regarding how about if the Astra enter the situation, decrease their support. Yes, continue Pak.
Ya,
oh, thank you.
Tentu sebagai penutup kami ingin menyampaikan bahwa apa yang kita lakukan di desa itu bisa berdampak, dan ketika kita bersatu tentu kegiatan menjaga alam akan lebih keren tentunya. Terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. So the last statement from Pak Jamaluddin, I remember the late of Lieutenant General of Doni Munardo. I knew him. That he said, if we protect the nature, then the nature will protect us. So it is kind of like this situation that we found in Kanrea Pia village. Thank you, Pak. So no worries again about the translation. Okay, now the time for all you participants to ask some question or comments. And we only have 15 minutes for the next time. We only have 15 minutes. So will you, all the participants, give appreciation through question and comment to all our honorary speakers? Is there? Yes, please. Please mention your name and country.
Hello, my name is Abd Hamid Sharif and I'm from Egypt.
From Egypt, yes.
Yeah, and my area is sustainable research. And I wanted to ask about the situation in Indonesia because Indonesia, I think, negotiated a deal when it comes to rainforest protection, I think last year.
Production?
Indonesia negotiated a deal last year for regarding getting financing for rainforest protection. And when it comes to stewardship of communities, people within the villages protecting biodiversity and stuff, how would you use climate and biodiversity financing in providing green jobs for the community as protectors and as stewards for the rainforests within their vicinity? Thank you.
Could you explain or me? Because it's outside of their topic, yeah? Yeah. So I think in Indonesia, we have one specialized director general, so-called the social forestry. This is the first time the government acknowledged that people, 30,000 villages located surround the forest or inside the forest. We cannot push out them, exclude them. So they'll provide, government provide the so-called social forestry. It is various type of social forestry. The first, so-called, granted 35 years to utilize the land inside the forest area. 35 years. And it is cannot, what you call it, support the livelihood, then the farmer could propose another 35 years. Okay? And then the other type of the access to forest is so-called the, what you call it, I forget the name in English, but it was the land reform. The land reform. So the land inside the forest area where it's already disappeared because there are many plantations, many housing, and then the government released this kind of area to become the outside forest area. So give it directly to the local people. This is a program, this is affirmative program by the Jokowi president. The last, not the last actually, to acknowledge formally the customary forest. Years before the Indonesian established, became a new state in 1945. Many local people surround Indonesia or customary people already access and own and manage and maintain their land and forest. So then, when the new order comes since 1965, and then many areas that already accessed by the local people, then push out because of the government program, push out from the forest area. Then conflict, horizontal conflict, vertical conflict emerged. Then when the Jokowi president arrived to become a new administration, this kind of forests are acknowledged, particularly the customary forest. 2 weeks before I arrived here in Dubai, I finished to acknowledge, to verify 7 customary forests in Tanah Toba, Toba Lake. 7 customary forests. They proposed, this is formerly our ancestor on this area. And about early this year, 7 customary community from Papua. Papua is the eastern part of Indonesia. We acknowledge also, the government acknowledge also the area of the customary forest. So it was interesting because the customary forest, when the government acknowledged this, then it was not belong to the state anymore. It is absolutely owned by the local people. That's why who give the certificate to become the customary forest, not the Minister of Environment and Forestry, but directly by the President. This is very symbolic, I mean, from the state-owned forest to become local people on the forest. This is, I think, the progress, I think, is very affirmative, very affirmative from the states. Hopefully, after the general election, this program still continue. Okay, another?
Thank you for the lecture,
Oh,
Pak Bowo. Well, in case you don't know, our moderator, he serves as the senior advisor to our Minister of Environment and Forestry, but he's also a lecturer in one of our reputable university in Bogor, Indonesia. That's why he can go on and on and on. But if you want to hear more from him, please enroll to his course. There is no free lunch, right? And is there anything else from the floor that you want to add on? Just reminding you that it's already 2020, which is 8:20.
you are smart, Mona, to stop
I just tried to be
this
efficient.
minute.
Is there anything else from the floor? If not, perhaps.
Yes, I think this is the time to stop all our discussion. It doesn't mean that I have to stop all our, but the time are limited and became late at night, and we have to go to downtown 45 minutes from here. So thank you so much, particularly our excellent speakers and you guys all that still wait until we stop the meeting or the session. Thank you so much for deep from my heart. You are getting always until finish.
Thank you very much, all speakers, especially Astra, for your contribution, your commitment in advancing community capacity building in providing a sustainable future for everybody and for a better future for everyone, I guess. So thank you very much for your participation, and please make some noise to all the speakers.